Happy holidays, Dog Nation. This is Jeff Sintel, DogNation.com, recruiting reporter. Brandon Adams calls me recruiting insider. Reporters just fine with me. Happy holidays. How's everybody? So first of all, the Sintel compound has gotten a little holiday trimming since our last broadcast. Last time we had a bear tree. This time we got it rolling. We got everything going on. We got all the ornaments. We got everything. Certainly, I think that's the first question of the night for me. Who's got their tree up? Who's got everything dialed in, ready to go? You got outdoor Griswold going on, and we don't have outdoor Griswold going on just yet. But we do have Before the Hedges tonight, brought to you by Kroger. What's Before the Hedges? Well, it's a weekly recruiting program dating back to 2015. It was streamed live back on Periscope, I think, in the beginning. Then it went to Facebook. Then it became YouTube. Then it became Twitter. Then it became, I think, Twitch. Maybe the big show only gets Twitch, though. But we have another entertaining, interesting, enlightening program for you guys tonight because it is the Before the Hedges eve to National Signing Day. This time next week, everybody of consequence will have likely signed, except for on Georgia's board, maybe 3 or 4 names. We'll get into that as well. So lots to get into today. I think you guys saw the headline. First of all, I want to thank everybody for joining us on another Wednesday night. Certainly means a lot. Certainly try to make sure we repay the investment of your time with some knowledge on all things Georgia football and Georgia football recruiting. I'll be happy to take your questions during this program. We've got our top targets list. We got everything cooking, all the normal ingredients, but we're going to start with what I think are the 5 recruitments, 5 storylines to watch heading into early signing day. And actually, it's a little bit of a cheat. There's 4 players in one storyline, so you can really call them 5 storylines. The first of those storylines, we're going to have to be very judicious here, I guess. But the first of those storylines, I'm not going to bury my lead. It is Kamari Wilson, the 5-star safety man out of IMG Academy. Now, he's going to make his decision on an ESPN televised ceremony. That will be at 4 p.m. on Eastern time from his hometown of Fort Pierce, Florida. He plans to do it, he tells me, at a community center. The schools that are in the mix for him, let me make sure I've got it. I don't know if Michael still has, our producer, Michael Carvel, still has this graphic from last week, but maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. That was when Kamari announced his decision date and when he's going to make his decision known. He has December the 15th at 4 p.m. Finalists are Texas A&M, LSU, Georgia, and Florida State. He has a Final Four. I don't know if you guys saw the on social media. Let me see if I can do this for you. Maybe you guys got it. Let me see if you can see it right there. I know this is terrible, low tech when you guys do it, but see if I can get that in there. Everybody noticed right there that Kamari, and for those on the podcast that are jogging, you're riding along, I'm sorry, but I'm going to try to paint the picture for you right there. Kamari is simply pointing his finger at the camera, and certainly lots of Georgia Bulldog enthusiasts have opined and maybe wished openly that he is having maybe one of those Da Vinci Code type tells by pointing directly at the Georgia G. We will see next week on at 4 p.m. on National Early Signing Day, if that is the case. Interested to know that I've been hearing some chatter both ways. There's an expectation, and today is only Wednesday and things can change, but there's an expectation that he might take an official visit to LSU this weekend. For Georgia fans that love to worry over such things, I would say that the biggest worry there would probably if Brian Kelly and his merry men can flip a guy in basically establishing a relationship in about 5 or 6 days in one visit weekend. Well, if he's going to do that with 5-star Kamari Wilson, then I think Brian Kelly will win about 4 national championships at LSU, because that's how extremely successful he's going to be as a recruiter if he can pull that off. Kind of the same things I have in mind there for Florida's efforts here late to flip Jaheim Singletary. But nonetheless, that would be another storyline that's not on our top 5 board for this night's show. Kamari Wilson, number 1 target on our Before the Hedges weekly top targets list since way back in July, right after Branson Robinson committed to Georgia. That was when he overtook the number 1 spot on the top targets list. Going to make his decision next Wednesday at about 4 p.m. So, folks, you want some closure to your early signing day, it's going to come or some fireworks or some punches in the gut. I think that will probably come around 4:20, 4:25 or so, perhaps even earlier than that on early signing day. That's number 1. Number 2, the update I got to simply give is Christian Miller. If you guys read the Dog Nation update this week on dognation.com, I believe it posted last night. But Christian Miller, again, he's going to be different from most. He's going to go about his recruiting his own way. If you guys remember our conversation from about 2 weeks ago, right before Thanksgiving, here's what Christian Miller is going to do. He is going to make his commitment on January the 8th. He is not going to sign anywhere during the early signing period. He will not be able to take an official visit to Georgia this weekend because his Cedar Grove High School football team is playing for the Georgia Class 3A state title at 12 noon at Georgia State Central Park Stadium. Will be very hard for him to take an official anywhere this weekend because of that. He had an in-home visit last night from Larry Johnson and Ryan Day of Ohio State. His final 3 is Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama. Alabama, to this point, has not scheduled an in-home visit with Christian Miller as of yet. And probably right now as we speak, or maybe a little bit earlier than this, Georgia's staff went in-home with Christian Miller as well. Tonight was the night he was supposed to get an in-home visit from the Georgia staff. Travion Scott, probably some others. We'll have to see if Kirby Smart himself shows up because Kirby Smart's probably going to be quite busy, as I will detail in point number 4. That's the nutshell there on Christian Miller. The third name I want to bring up as our third storyline would be Shamar James. Shamar James is the linebacker who's really basically just down to Georgia and Alabama. Alabama has visited him this week. Georgia visited him last night. I'm sure Georgia fans and Bulldog enthusiasts hearts were lifted by the fact that he tweeted out a picture with lots of Bulldogs there. I believe it was you saw Glenn Schumann, you saw Kirby Smart, and I believe it was Dan Lanning as well, hanging out with him in Mobile, Alabama. He used the word family in the tweet, and I think the big thing now for Georgia fans to watch for is to see whether he takes an official visit to Georgia or he goes and visits Alabama this weekend on the final closing push visit weekend before National Signing Day. Third storyline, that was the third storyline. The fourth storyline is simply the receivers, and I'm lumping these guys together. I know that Marquarius Squirrel White out of Clay Chalkville High School in Pinson, Alabama, he is being visited by I believe, Cortez Hankton, Todd Monken, and Kirby Smart tonight, probably happening this day, maybe right about this point, maybe about an hour or so. The thing there is Marquarius is down to Georgia and Tennessee. He will not visit anywhere this week. He just won a state championship last week for Clay Chalkville High School, and he's not going anywhere. The decision, I'm told, will be made this week. He will let Kirby Smart and also Tennessee know his decision over the week, and that will be that. I don't think it will be a pins and needles announcement, but you guys are wondering how Georgia's offense gets more explosive. You want to see more explosive wide receivers. Well, this is I would say a Hellcat type receiver, very fast, the type of guy that can have instant first and second step burst and acceleration. I had 16, I believe, touchdowns, over 20 yards per catch in Alabama Class 6A football this year. Really impressive prospect. Georgia has gotten in on him late. He took his official visit for the Charleston Southern game. Will be very interesting to watch there. Another guy I want to bring up in this topic is simply the wide receivers topic. Another guy that's going to be taking his official visit to Georgia this weekend. That is Camden Brown. That's St. Thomas Aquinas. That's the same high school which produced Marcus Rosemy Jack Saint. He really does a lot of the things that Marcus Rosemy did for St. Thomas Aquinas back in the day when he was a player there. Potentially he can follow the same Georgia path. He's about 6'3" and some change, about 190, a bigger bodied receiver. Former Pitt commitment. He decommitted on December the 1st. Georgia and other schools, Florida State, Auburn. Auburn was his official visit last weekend. He told me on Monday night that Camden Brown told me on Monday night that he would take an official visit to Georgia this weekend. Another wide receiver to pay attention to is DeColdest Crawford. That's a young man out of Shreveport, Louisiana. DeColdest is a former LSU commit. He just decommitted this week, actually. DeColdest Crawford's 3-star wide receiver. Of course, Cortez Hankton has really strong ties in Louisiana as well. Be very interesting to see how much Georgia gets in there with DeColdest. You see a lot of tweets from Julian Humphrey kind of opining and wondering about that one. Something to think about there. And then the final receiver, really Jaden Gibson had Georgia among his final 2 or 3. He chose Florida. His parents are both Florida legacies. But the new staff of Billy Napier and Jaden Gibson had a meeting, and he decided to decommit this week from Florida. His recruitment is wide open as well now, and I'd look for Georgia to make a strong push there as well. Those are some of those receivers that we were talking about. And then I think the final thing to think about is this is a weekend where a lot of Georgia guys will simply take their official visit. They want to have an impactful official visit with others. Marvin Jones Jr. should be expected in. Devin Campbell, the 5-star tackle, about 6'3", about 315 pounds, going to be a guard in college. Georgia was able to snag a late official visit from Devin Campbell. Devin is really basically down to Texas and Alabama. Can Georgia get in there? We'll see over the balance of this weekend. Right now, Campbell is playing a lot of basketball, really effective post player. He's a big man with some handles, got an outside shot, especially good footwork, especially to be about 6'3.5" and about 320 pounds. He's got some pretty good wiggle to be moving around up on the hardwood like that. Other official visits, Griffin Scroggs will be in on his official visit as well. That's the offensive lineman who basically flipped from Georgia Tech. Malachi Starks will be in town on his official. Big Bear Alexander will be in town on his official. I'd expect core commitments like Jalen Walker and others to also be in town this weekend as well. Jalen Walker is actually playing, I believe, in the North Carolina Shrine Bowl this week as well. It'd be interesting to see when he can exactly get down to Athens this weekend. It's a big kind of catch-all official visits for a lot of guys. I would expect a guy like maybe Marquise Groves-Killebrew to take his official visit as well. Lots of other guys have really saved it for this weekend as well. Those are 5 topics to get to. I'm Jeff Sintel. I'm your hardworking, intrepid reporter, whatever you want to say. Hope you guys are having a really good holiday season up to this point. This is the part where I'm going to quickly look at my phone, and if I see any questions lurking about, we're going to have at it, Hoss. Let's see. Interesting news while I'm waiting for my phone to pull up. Did you guys see pretty good move for Billy Napier, the new head coach of the Florida Gators? He's trying to earn that $7.5 million he's making. He hired Corey Raymond, the defensive back recruiter extraordinaire out of Louisiana, away from LSU, and didn't give Brian Kelly a chance to bring him into his family. Everything else over the weekend. Let me see. Billy Mathis wants to know, does Georgia expect any decommits, or will we bump anyone out of the class? I think decommit is a very strong possibility. Ed Pollock brings up Chandler Smith. That's the 10-3 wide receiver speedster who was also